Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tell Us with Tutti. And today we have with me my amazing co-host, Kevin Mumphrey. Hi, Kev. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Well, from the looks of things, looks like I'm vacationing a bit.
I know. I
But
see. I look like I'm in the library right now. In the
I would
library.
say look like you're in your some people call it your study.
Yeah, in the library of a fancy living room library area in your house. Anyway, whatever. These filters just make your life much easier. Happy Black History Month, Ken.
I think it's always weird for people to say that.
How come? Tell
It's like
me.
I don't know. It just is out like we know it's Black History Month and everything, but it's like it's not like it's Christmas or Fourth of July or nothing.
I
So
think
when
it
people
is our.
say, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I like the. I mean, I wish wasn't on the shortest month of the year, but
Oh, at this point, boy, we just get whatever we can get. We fighting, sure. I mean, surely but surely, to get to equality. But if you give me the 28 days, boy, I'll take it.
no, I need my 30. Well, I'm where I grew up at. It was a place that's mostly black. So one month was nothing to us because there was aspects of us we celebrated year round.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Where I'm from Cartagena, Colombia. Colombia with the O, no an U. Yeah, like we say that 80% of the population in my city is Afro descendants. Even
Oh,
though I came to America, I came to the US. It was so weird because I came to the US and people hear me, but they don't see me, just like you mentioned.
now kind of want you to kind of go back to when you're
Tell
talking
me.
about Colombia because when we think of Colombia,
Mm-hmm.
I mean we kind of think of your skin tone, but if I tell somebody in their head to visualize a Colombian woman, they're gonna think Sofia Vergara.
Shakira, Sofia
Shakira.
Vergara, if you, and that, goes to all South America. So if you think about South America, then you think, Brazil, Giselle Bonchel, Colombia, Shakira,
I think even people kind of
Sofia
forget that
Vergara.
we tend to because I have to remind myself that Giselle's a Latina because when I think of dark skinned Latin people, I do think Brazil like, has been,
Yes.
but Colombia, they
What it
think lighter skin.
what is Yeah, and that is what we need to change. Okay. We need to educate ourselves in our ancestry and in our ancestry and where we actually come from with just truthful facts and not based on information and whatever outlet the government wants to push on you or the school. Don't rely on your school districts or to your government to understand where you actually coming from, because you will not get it. A lot of countries, they run their own bias and they want to keep shelter the information. So it's up to us ourselves to go out there and find out.
Now
So let me tell
here,
you something.
no, go ahead.
Let me tell you something, boy. One thing that it really bothers me, a great deal, is when I look at people and they ask me, and it happened often, that they ask me, where am I from? And I say, okay, I'm Colombian, right? And they don't believe it. And the expectation is the narrative that you see in Telemundo, right? The Latinos that you see in Telemundo. So that's the expectation. And then when I say, well, when they say, what is your ethnicity? Because people get confused by the color of my skin. And then I refer myself as Afro Latina. So Afro, that's the first reaction in their face, in the outburst, or whatever. They don't believe that they're Afro descendant people outside the US. And just to be clear, the slavery started in South America in the 1500s. It hit the first slave ship that came to the US came in the 1600s. If in my if my knowledge is, if my memory is not playing with me, 1620 something, 1620s, just put it that way. The first slave ship that came to the US. And in South America, where I am from, the 1500s. So we as South Americans, we have almost 100 years of lashing before even hit the US. So when I hear things like, no, you're not Afro, or when I hear things like, very ignorant, by the way, I posted something on TikTok and a lot of nice comments and a lot of misinformed comments like, well, you don't hear here, we don't accept it here because you guys got a break. The ones here in America didn't have a break. I would love to understand what is a break when you're taking from your motherland to be tortured and to be berate as a mule, as an animal, to build cities for free. I don't know how it's a break. I have no idea. I understand that you have only been taught what happened here, but that barbarous events happen all over the world. So my point with this is like, don't only relate Blackness to a thicker texture or hair, or the widest of the nose, or the bigger of the lips, the darker of the lighter of the hair. Educate yourself so you don't look like ignorance out in the world. That's what I would say.
Again, you have a more of a wide world view of it, whereas people here, like, I mean, most people don't in the US don't travel outside of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely most males. I believe women travel outside the country here more than men do. But you said I think it reached like the US. It was because I was checking to see when did the first slave ship hit America, and yes, it was 1619.
You see, so, don't fact check me, boy, because I know my
stuff. When you said it, I was curious. Oh, like I believe so too, but I like to be somewhat sure of these things, even though I say don't completely trust the internet, but I like to look at it for reference. Also, you're talking about like learning like your history here. Now, the difficult part of like history, like teaching history here in this country, is you have so many different cultures, different races, different ethnicities, all in one one country. You put them all in, we're ideally we're not segregated. Ideally. So under that guise that you have different teaching history, there's certain aspects of history that means more to a certain group than it will to another. Like, to me, Christopher Columbus is not that important to me. As far as history, for one, that history is a little jaded anyway. And there's certain things that someone, and again, I'm in the South, so that may be certain that a Southern white male here may find important. Me, I'm not going to find that important. You won't find that important. Like, to me, W.E.B. Du Bois is probably a more of an important figure to me than it would be to a white male in Tennessee. But that's type of stuff I learned from my mother. I learned from like my aunt. Even I have a younger sister who likes to look back at certain historic figures, and then she was more helpful to me with like historic Black people in music. But I had learned that through family, through older individuals, or even college. College is very, because you can take an African American studies.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I learned stuff like that. But also the term Afro Latina, even here, I feel like it got popped because I never, like growing up, I never heard the term. But also, I grew up in Memphis, where the city is, I believe at the time I was growing up, it was 70% Black. It's a little more like 60s now, but it's majority Black. So there are people that I realized I'm grown now, and I'm starting to realize there's people that I went to elementary school with Puerto Rican. I just thought they were light-skinned Black people. Had no idea. Certain people were Indian that I just thought were a lighter shade of Black. or was even Mexican, had no idea. So, but the term like Afro Latina, I growing up never heard it. I think I may have started hearing it 2015.
Wow.
And it's one of those
Wow.
things where it's like you hear it and it's like, what? And then someone explains it like, well, yeah, that makes sense. So it's just like, so once it's like nobody really brought it out into the ether, especially here, because I mean, for the longest we've had, I mean, in America, everyone when they think Latino, they think Mexican.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean, like you can ask the average person what a Peruvian is, they'd have no idea.
Oh my
A
gosh. This is
Argentinian, they're not gonna know what that is. You think Latino, you think. I mean, I think now we're a little better. They may say, I mean, Mexican's gonna be number one. I think if you ask the average, they may know like Mexican, Cuban. I feel like those are the main three they would know.
wow.
Outside of that, and that's honestly depending on where you are. Like, honestly, I think if you're in Florida, they may know a little bit more. New York, everybody's there, so they know.
I mean, New York has a huge population of Afro Latinos, and there's you need listen, and that's another thing that I want to talk about. Because there's problem, and you know what I mean, and no accepting or embarrassment. Or I really don't understand. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense in my brain that why wouldn't I be absolutely proud of where I'm from, and most important, proud of the knowledge that I have to share it to my future generations coming ahead. You know what I mean? We need to respect that. So I really don't get how some Central Americans, I am not gonna say the country, so go back to you. But some Central Americans approach you with kinkier hair than you, than me, and they say,
"Girl, my hair
no.
days are long gone."
Well, when you have your kinky hair, these Central Americans that I'm talking about, they're darker than you, they're kinkier hair than a poodle, but they look at you and say like, no, I am not Afro Latino. I am from the ta 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 ta. Anyway,
so I've heard
that's ignorance.
I've heard something similar to this.
Everybody to their own, I guess.
I've heard something similar to this, and I think because there's been, and I honestly wouldn't have known this if it went for social media, but I guess there was a little bit of a it'd be like I guess a conflict between like African Americans and it'd be Dominicans because you would hear like they would say like I'm not black, and we would take that as like you're saying literally your skin isn't black. So I would see memes and stuff about it, and I always thought that was weird, but I wouldn't around Dominicans. Now I know quite a few of them. So when I asked one about it, and it was like, no, it's just it's a miscommunication. Whereas we're here, like how we describe ourselves is through our skin color. I say I'm African American, or I just say I'm black. Whereas someone who's Dominican, they say they are Dominican. They don't identify themselves by the color of their skin.
I'm Colombian.
But if you'll say you're Colombian. But if I had asked you, do you have dark skin? You would probably say yes. I would assume so.
I am
I think you would ask a dark-skinned Dominican person, do you have dark skin? Going to Zoom, they would say yes. So sometimes it's just miscommunication and kind of arrogance on
I think it's almost like shame. It's almost like you are being ashamed of the origins of your skin tone, which is, it's something that you cannot change.
See, when I hear someone like that, I think like Sammy Sosa, who's which Dominican, right? Because I think someone, and I didn't know that he changed his skin until like a few years ago, because someone said you should Google a current picture of Sammy Sosa. And I was like, well, that's
crazy.
Why would I do that? But my curiosity got me. I was like, I got to see it. And whoo,
yeah,
you look better dark. I just
listen. It's enough of this, shameless behavior. Enough of denying where you're coming from. You have to. I mean, how how you going to achieve that other people, other cultures come to you with respect if you don't even respect your own? You
It was
know,
also like, again, how were you taught about where you come from?
I,
And
okay.
so you could have been taught wrong, and somebody, if your mother teaches you something, and somebody you just talking to on Twitter says, no, this is wrong, you're going to feel defensive. Like, this is what your mother taught you, your grandmother taught you, and you're telling me that my family's wrong. And then sometimes I think, honestly, as a country as a whole, we have a horrible like communication issue. Like, we don't really listen to each other. We just kind of, we talk very combative, and very much on social media, but very combative. So even if, so they're going to be defensive, and that person's going to be defensive, and nobody's listening to, like, no, like, your mother just got some bad information, she switched it to you. But I'm telling you, this is the history of it. This is, I can even show you. And then we tell people, oh, go Google it and research. Most people ain't doing that.
And that's, I mean, that's what can I
People
tell you?
who
It's really sad that you are not interested and you allow like any information to come to you and you're just gonna don't even digest it, just swallow it. Go swallow it. No, like how did I learn about my history? Well, you know, it's starting from like Cartagena by the 1600s was literally the epicenter of the slave trade in the Americas. By the 1600s,
now, as far as
before even
Colombia
got
is
here.
concerned, because I'm glad that you said that, because most people think Colombia, they don't think like a majority of dark skin. So would you say that the part of Colombia where you grew up would be the highest population of darker hued people?
No, it's not even close. The highest population of Afro descendants and dark people is in El Chocó, in Cali. It's not even, it's also coastline, of course, because it's coast. You know what I mean? All these fuckers were sorry for just leaving their mess all over the coast. They come in boats. So yeah, but it's in the Pacific coast. That's where the largest population of. I am from the North Coast, from the Caribbean coast. So we, yeah, by the 1600s, Cartagena, my city, was like the epicenter, one of the number one ports of slaves in the
Now, let me ask you this:
Americas.
growing up, because like here we have kind of issues even within the African American community of a bit of colorism.
Yeah.
Like maybe a lighter skinned black person may get a different treatment than a darker skinned person. Like I use myself as an example at first. Like growing up, being dark skinned was not considered sexy. Was not. I got called everything. Tar baby, monkey.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, happens.
I'm so sorry, Kev.
Now,
I mean, that type of language, it really bothers me. It's just already making my skin crawl, because America really, like,
but
here.
And again, like this was people who look like me. So so it was normalized. Like everybody was kind of making names for anyone that was darker skinned. But now, as I'm grown, it's like all those features that was considered ugly, women like now. So it's like, oh, now we're cute. Oh, now we're sexy. And so, but no, actually, I would say the change came from Michael Jordan. But there's still a bit of I don't want to say jealousy, because I hate to tell people that one person is jealous of another. But there is a bit now with men. I feel like with men, like we kind of joke about it. But and even that's probably not incredibly healthy. But yeah, we will make for like men making jokes on light skinned men, and light skinned men making jokes on darker skinned men. Because those jokes be kind of, I'll admit I've done it myself, but those jokes kind of become stereotypes. And for black people, our stereotypes can get us killed. So it's not necessarily the healthiest, but I'm being long-winded. But I wanted to ask, in Colombia, where you came from, was there any form of colorism growing up there? And how does it look like where you came from?
Colorism and classism. I think I encountered, like in Cartagena, where I'm from, because like 80%, 90% of the population is Afro descendants, you know what I mean, in all sides of the spectrum. So yeah, sometimes you do have colorism. I think that it's not going to, if you know, we live in an ignorant world, so they're always gonna see that, you're always gonna find people that's gonna think that they're better because they're, you know, a few shades lighter than you. You know what I mean? Classism is more over there than colorism, because again, you know, almost all of us look, you know, from the Amazon, they look, you know, very native as hell. From the north, where I'm from, if you're from the coastline, very Afro-descendant. And then in the middle, in the middle land, like what you see in Medellin, Bogotá, is what you guys see and perceive as Latinas. You know what I mean? That the white skin, the pale skin, that in the mountains, in the Andes, the white skin, the pale skin, the black, blonde hair, and all of that. So, yeah, you see it, but not as much as colorism. I see it more here, to be quite honest. I see Afro-Americans are more divided when it comes to colorism than Latinos.
Really?
My experience. My experience. And it's almost like it's very despective the way you guys do it, because
very what?
Despective, like not nice, in a not nice manner.
Okay.
Very it's just in a nasty way, you know.
Okay, that makes more sense.
It's not nice. It's not done in a I don't say something bad is done in a nice way, but sometimes you can be a little more political about it. But no, you see it, you know, in NBA, you see it in soccer, you see it in
you said you see it in NBA, colorism.
Yes.
In NBA. How?
For example, so and so is better. Look at he throw like a light skinned so and so.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that would take it. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like this type of like that
little
jokes.
So yeah, and yeah, we do that, and I think how you would perceive it as being me, because sometimes we say things that come off as harsh. It's almost like if a friend tells you a certain joke, you can it doesn't bother you, but if someone else told you that same joke,
yeah, but just take it as the word N. You know what? Just take it as an N word. Excuse me. Just take it as the N word. Just because you can say it doesn't mean that you should say it.
So that's a little more drastic, because I think all coaches have, I think, certain things that they say that it's almost like you have to be a part of the room to get it.
But now, how are you gonna get better? How are we gonna get better if we're gonna keep making jokes? And yeah, jokes kind of like those little dick jokes kind of like diminish the fact that just because you're darker, you don't get. It's like, okay, just because you're darker, it's like, for instance, going back to the plantation. Just go back to the plantation. So, oh no, so you belong outside in the sun and you belong inside in the house.
Now that
we're doing the exact same thing. But do you realize that they're all slaves? Yeah, honey, you're a slave inside the house and outside, but you're still a slave. So how are you gonna think that you're better than the one that is outside? You still, I mean, you're getting the same beating.
I see where you're going. And now that, again, there's kind of levels to it, and I think there's like really extreme and mean versions of it. But I'm kind of like I get your point about joking about it doesn't make it better, but it's also we kind of things that like bothers us, we do make fun of it, we do joke about it. Like you may see online that they'll say like black folks don't take anything serious. Now we do, but it's almost how to what we joke about it to cope with it.
There's a lot of coping to do over here, I'm telling you.
There's a lot of stuff in America you got to cope with when you're black. I mean, like you would like, even like a black comedian will make jokes about things that are going on within our culture that you wouldn't think we would make a joke about. But it's just kind of our way of dealing with it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It really is crazy. We need to, listen, all I'm saying is that we need to educate ourselves, and not just to wrap up this show. All I'm saying is that we need to educate ourselves. We need to educate, we need to know exactly where our ancestry comes from. We need to unite ourselves, and we need to represent our entire ancestry and realize that the world, we are all over the world. It's not just one region or one region, and you got it worse than you. We all got it bad. We all got it bad. If you think about it, every single city that have slaves, all those cities are built with the backslashes of slavery for free, for free 99. You know what I mean? We all got it bad. So it's not you're better than the other. And also realize and understand and respect the fact that there's African descents that speak Spanish. There's African descents that have, softer hair texture. There's African descent that have skinny or wider noses. We are everywhere. So Afro Latinos exist, just like Afro Americans, just like Afro Europeans. You know what I mean? There's a whole bunch in England, a whole bunch in Paris, a whole bunch of it. So let's get ourselves educated so we don't look crazy in front of other cultures in the world. And, and it would be nice if we, for once, get interested not only in our culture, but in everybody's culture. You know what I mean? So you can differentiate between a Punjabi and a Gujarat. So you know why the genocide in Rwanda happened. You know what I mean? So you know why there's so many landmines in Southeast Asia. Little things like that is interest to know. Like, let's get interest in all of these events that happen, why they happen. Because if we don't learn about it, we can't stop them from coming back to our lives again. That's all I have to say. And on that note, everybody, thank you for listening. Happy Black History Month. And I'm here. Thank you for listening. I'm black as hell. What can I tell you?
Like I always say, black and beautiful.
Thank you. Black and killing it.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. We love you all. And remember, we are mainstream in every single podcast outlet you can find. Tell it with Tootie. Thank you so much. Mwah. Look at my freaking black knuckles. Tell me I am no black. Jesus, Fabrices. Mwah.
I'm trying to look at mine, but yeah, I mean.
Bye.